Welcome to Washington East to West Sports. This is episode 51. I am Matt Beatty, joined alongside, as usual, by Sean Beatty and Kevin Ardolph. If you want to get involved in the show, go ahead and tweet us. I am at Beatty_Matt. Sean is at Sean_Beatty. Kev is at Kev's Believe the First Thing Believes Me at 3. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think of any of the topics we talk about. Subscribe to our page on the Eline Network. Let's jump right into some Seattle Sounders action. Kevin, your blessings, they continue for the Seattle Sounders. They had a 1-0 win on the 18th, and then they had a 2-1 win against Columbus on Saturday. So, Kevin, I don't know how you did it, but what do you have to say with your current 4-game Sounders winning streak, 9 points on the road? How did you do this? Are you a witch?
Well, I'm not a witch, but I will say it involved a couple of items, some beer oil from a leprechaun, some sprinkles, which is kind of like dandruff from a unicorn, and a lot of whiskey. But all together, you're all thanking me.
Yes,
we got it done. So the hot streak continues. Until I say so, and I'm not saying so.
Why would you ever then say so if you have the power? Why would you purposely stop them from winning?
Because the Sounders need to know that I could take it.
Oh,
away.
you just want to show your power. Okay,
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I'm power hungry. Dang it!
Gosh.
I mean, both Roldens are back. Ladero is back. I mean, this team is getting healthy. Sean, what have you thought of the Sounders on this 4-game win streak?
They're not even just beating teams. This last game against Columbus, I think they scored their first goal in like the 80th minute. So they made it a little risky being down I guess the other team, Columbus, scored in like the 60th minute. So it wasn't like they were down for a lot.
I also heard they kept chanting like Seattle sucks or something like that. And it apparently silenced the audience from what I was told.
But since Kevin's like cursed, like they're not even just beating teams, Matthew, they're slaughtering people. So whatever you're doing, Kevin, don't change it. Don't jinx it.
Well, they better start.
Nope, don't even look at him. Don't even look at it.
Okay.
All right. Well, they are hosting the Portland Timbers on Sunday at 7:30. So if you are in Seattle, Lumen Field's going to be hopping this weekend with, Seahawks preseason. It's not a regular season game, but there's a football game nonetheless. And then a European football game on Sunday. So Lumen Field is going to be very busy this weekend. Let's talk a little bit about the Seattle Storm. I'm going to share my screen here. So I don't want to talk about results today. I just want to talk about the Storm going to the White House. They were at the White House today celebrating their 2020 WNBA championship. This is the first time a WNBA team has been invited to the White House since 2016. We're not going to get into politics here, but you could probably guess why. So the team was at the White House today and was honored by President Biden for their 2020 championship. They just keep churning out championships, and Sue Bird spoke as well as Breanna Stewart. So congratulations to the Seattle Storm once again, and hopefully they do a repeat and win the 2021 title. So any thoughts on the Sounders there, Sean or Kevin? Also, Sean.
They struggled a little bit, as you were saying. They started off crazy hot, ran to a little losing, 3 out of 5, and then have put it on the last 2 teams they've played. So I wish these games were easier to watch, ESPN, but that'd be the nicer thing. But hopefully they could continue this, and obviously with the talent they have, and it's teams are going to lose, but I think as long as they just stay healthy, no major injuries happen, they've got to be like one of the top 3 teams in contention the rest of the season.
Kevin, any thoughts?
That other than that, I'm just proud of them representing Seattle and just being awesome. So good for them, ladies, and keep it up.
And as you can see, the Storm are going to be on ESPN2 on Tuesday, and they will be on Facebook at home. So busy day in Seattle on Sunday with the Storm and the Sounders both in action. So get out and support some Seattle sports this Sunday. But gentlemen, let's get into some Seattle Mariners baseball. So let me bring up the schedule right now. So what is the score currently? We are recording on a Monday night as they are at Oakland.
3-3.
3-3.
Both Kelnick and Cal Raleigh just struck out.
Okay,
They
well,
they both looked ugly too. Like they did not look good.
that's
Yeah.
a little disappointing, but
Right
we'll see
now,
what happens.
Bowers is at the plate.
Bowers is still up. They still got.
But let's recap the last week real quick before we talk about this little 2-game set they have at Oakland real quick before they come home for a little while. Also, boy, Seattle's going to be very busy this weekend. So at Texas for 3 games, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of last week, 3-1, 3-1, 9-8, and 11 with the sweep. Then they went to Houston. Didn't look good for the first couple games, 12-3, 15-1, but they turn it around, avoid the sweep, 6-3 in 11 on Sunday. They are currently taking on the Oakland A's in a 2-game series. They play tomorrow afternoon, although you're going to be seeing this after they play. So hopefully they have won. Hopefully we're happy. And then they come home after a day off and they are taking on the Kansas City Royals at home. So, boy, that is going to be quite the scene in Seattle. You've got Mariners baseball 110 at T-Mobile. Then you've got Seahawks preseason right across the street at about 7:30, I believe. Then you have the Sounders at 7:30 in Lumen Field. But before that, you've got the Kansas City Royals in town for the 1:10 afternoon game. And then you also have up the way, you have the Seattle Storm playing. So Seattle, if you want some sports, you've got some sports this week for sure. But I want to see how you guys thought the Mariners did this past week. So, Sean, what did you think?
I like how you just said it didn't look good. They lost 27-4 in those first 2 games to Houston. Run differential is done for the year. Like they were like, "Oh, we could do this." No, that changed completely. But Texas looked fine. Then the last game in Texas looked kind of crappy. But there you go, Jake Bowers. Sorry,
Jake
got distracted.
Bowers. Yeah.
2-run single. There we go, 5-3. Okay. They blew a big lead in Texas on their third game, but they came back and won. That's all that really matters. I don't care the bullpen. The bullpen's been great up until 1 game. They're allowed to give up run, guys. It's okay. Then Houston did the things to you that Houston does. You took 1. So at the end of the day, you went 4-2 against Houston and Texas. Kevin said he wanted a sweep. I said I didn't even need a sweep, but just sweeping somebody would be nice. We got it. That's kind of the why you want it. It gives you that buffer if you're going to lose 2 out of 3 to Houston. It helps you. You're still a winning road trip. Guys, this is kind of where we are. We're better than Texas, but we are just not as good as Houston. Now we're not 27-4 bad against Houston. They got hot. They're a good team. Didn't play great baseball, but yeah, Houston is better than us right now. So it's okay. I would have liked them to be more competitive, but what I was not happy with was what I'm only looking forward to for next year. It's Kikuchi, it's Gilbert. Both did not look good. And then Kelnick just looked awful in Houston, just terrible. And Cal Raleigh didn't play much. So that was why I would say overall it wasn't a good week, not because the win-loss, but because of like the future, the players who I'm kind of counting on the future they looked lost the entire series, the entire road trip. I'm not saying it's done for it, but just in a week vacuum, those 4 guys did not look great.
Kevin, what do you think?
To say that on the last week we won 4 and only lost 2 is actually good. The end of the third Rangers game was definitely disappointing, blowing a big lead like that. But like at the same time too, as Sean already mentioned, like people need to, like, whenever the bullpen gives up runs, please just stop pooping on them. Like they've been phenomenal. They're still a top 5 bullpen in the AL. Like, breathe, Seattle fans, breathe, and other fans. Like they're gonna have off days, and the other team is paid to play, as we've already mentioned. Like they're especially, yeah, I know that Texas is not good, but we they can still hit the bats every now and then. So, or hit the balls, excuse me. Sorry. And then to come out with a game, now we shouldn't have gotten murder-fied by Houston the way we did. I expected to lose to Houston, but not get absolutely just stabbed 10,000 times in the face in those first 2 games. It was just awful. Like Kikuchi just didn't have his stuff. Man, it was, yeah.
Can I also say, who is this Heim guy and what did we do to him And why is he only good against the Mariners in the 8th inning and beyond? Not a single hit all day, and then in the 10th inning, he turns to like prime Miguel Cabrera. Again, double, and then scores a run in the 9th inning in that game. Like that dude, I don't get it.
Is he trying to take the Chris Davis spot? Like be the
But it's not even like the first like 3 innings like he does to us, like leads off home run. He sucks for all game, and then he's like, oh, there's a game that's kind of close against the Mariners. I'm gonna just hit a home run or a double. Like he just is like, I'm gonna turn it into like Mike Trout. Like he's hitting like 220, but all of his hits are against the Mariners. It seems like it's ridiculous.
Yeah, you should only play him against the Mariners.
He didn't hit. He played this last series. He raised his average to 208. He didn't. He played the last series. He hadn't hit a home run since the previous series against the Mariners. Let's put it that way. I don't know what he's doing, but Kevin's right. He's the next Chris Davis. Sorry, go on, Kevin.
Oh no, you're good. I'm concerned about Kikuchi and Gilbert. They have not been great recently, especially Gilbert. But Gilbert's young, so I'm going to give him a little bit credit. But Kikuchi needs to kind of figure it out.
I have a question for you, Kevin, about those two. Do you think because of last year, innings shorting and the year before, Kikuchi being hurt a little bit and Gilbert being young, do you think it's an innings thing? Like they're getting tired?
Yeah, with Gilbert, I just think it's inexperience, and he
hasn't pitched as many innings before. Like it's kind of they're bumping up his numbers.
And to be honest, too, like that's what a good team like Houston should do, is to be able to take advantage of a rookie pitcher like that. So it's also just Houston being good. So it's kind of like I don't know what percentage to give it, because it's like, yes, Logan Gilbert does need to improve, especially since we're going to be facing good teams in the future, like an Astros. But at the same time, too, I can't take away from the Astros, who've just been amazing. Like their whole batting rotation is just nutty. So it's kind of a weird thing, because he was good against them. Or I think it was them, or was it him? No, it was the Yankees.
Yankees, yeah. We're also very good.
Who are also very good, yeah. So it was Kikuchi who had the crazy 8 innings against them earlier in the year. They're gonna, it's a weird chess match, and they just gotta kind of prepare better. And that just needs to be a better strategy with them and the pitching coaches on needing to look at more film and just kind of having a better game plan and how to adapt to a really good baseball team.
Yeah, I think to add on, I think what Kevin said is correct. And I think the innings of Gilbert, he just hasn't pitched this many innings before in his career. Yeah. So he's getting tired. He's getting the rhythm of pitching a full season. He's not done this before. And like Kevin said, the Astros are good. You give them any foot, they're gonna take a mile. They're gonna you slip a little bit, they're gonna make you punish, or they're gonna punish you.
And he's gonna see him again at least once or twice.
Yep.
I guess we still got a lot of them to go. I'll put some positive spin, because I know we're talking a lot. Ty France. Well, I know we're going to kind of get to him here in a little bit. My Lord. I apologize. I'm an idiot. I probably should have taken Sean's deal in our fantasy
trade. I traded him and he just went off. I got a good deal. But
yeah. Man, I didn't expect him to go off this bad.
I traded him. I didn't think he was going to go do that either.
Oh man.
Let me jump in here. Real quick. So I was on vacation. I've been out of town since Friday, so I've been kind of just checking in when I have reception up in Leavenworth. Great weekend vacation if anybody wants to get out, by the way. But just want to say 4-2. Those losses against Houston are eye-widening, but a loss still lost. 9-8, 15-1. Not a big deal to me, but 4-2 on the week is not bad. And also at the beginning of the season, I said they would be about a 70-win team, and they're almost there. So, they're playing above my expectations. I said they finished about 3rd, and that's where they are right now. So that expectation has been met so far. But looking at the ESPN standings, the playoff percentages is 2.6 for the Mariners. Is it likely they're going to make the playoffs this season? No, but at least if you're a Mariners fan, generally you turn it off and are a Seahawks fan, you take off your Mariners hat and put on the Seahawks hat by now. And the fact that they are still playing relevant baseball at this time is pretty cool. and they are playing a team that they are trying to catch for, potentially a wild card spot. Obviously, you've got the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Blue Jays also in the mix. But, if they were to somehow finish second, that would be absolutely win, even if they missed the playoffs in my book. But to have the Mariners be playing relevant baseball, getting close to September is pretty cool. So, obviously you guys mentioned all the negatives with the absolute just demolition from the Astros on Friday, Saturday, but overall, 4-2 winning record, and the fact that they are about to approach that 70 win mark, which I think most of us said about 70, 75, I think is what we all pretty much said.
I said 69.
So I mean, they are getting close to that mark, and I would call that a positive to take away from this weekend, this season overall. You gonna say something?
I think I did say, I mean, I did end it negative, but I remember I did say, like, they did sweep like I wanted them to. They did finish 4-2. So at the end, it was a good one. But I was looking at the young players who, for the future, that's how it ended up looking kind of bad. But like as a team, yeah. Although their expected win-loss is, we're looking pretty close to about 70 wins. But so we're luck minus luck, we're probably right on. But real life, yeah, they might get to. Hopefully they get to 69 by the end of this 2-game series, because that put them 1 game behind Oakland. So
now, what's the score right now? Did they
like,
win?
Is it over? Toronto, Matthew, they're above Toronto. So Toronto has to catch them
5-3 right now, and there's 1 out in the bottom of the 9th.
Yeah,
and the Seawall Monster just got robbed on a strike.
Yeah, so I mean,
that was a strike.
The A's are half game back currently, pending the finish of this game, and Mariners are 3.5 back. So not out of the realm of possibility by any means. But let's move on to that man you guys were talking about, Ty France. I have a tweet here from Soto Mojo, who is verified, by the way. In case you didn't know, Ty France has been a hitting machine this year, taking out the stretch where he was playing with a hurt arm. He's 123 for 383, which is good for a 321 average. That would be second in all of baseball. Yeah, he's that good. So I just want to ask you guys, there's a response. I don't know who this is, but he said Ty France, long-term first baseman. So you guys always talk about the future. You guys know the prospects much better than I do. You're more of the analytics people than I am when it comes to this sort of thing. So I'm just going to give my take on it. Ty France this year, I think he's earned himself a spot in the future. I don't know what you guys think, but that man has been playing great baseball. I have a feeling you might lean towards trading him next year if he plays really well, maybe because there's a prospect in the works. But it sounds to me like Ty France has taken Evan White's job if Evan White was the future, and Ty France is making a very good case for himself to be on this team for many years to come with how he's playing. It is a 1 season sample size, but based on how he's played this year, I think he's earned himself some more time at first base or wherever he might find a place. His bat has been great. First base is, in my opinion, one of the easier positions to play on the field. So I think he would probably fit well at first base, pending some sort of prospect in the making from AA or AAA. But Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, I've heard a couple of places talking about this. I think going into next year, he has to be your starting first baseman. I think kind of what you do, in my opinion, you probably, when Evan White is healthy, I think you have Evan White in Tacoma. And then just because Evan White does need to develop his bat a little bit more, we know what he can do. He's phenomenal as a first baseman defensively. It's just kind of the bats is where he struggles at. And Ty France is kind of the opposite, to where his bat is really good, but his first baseman it's not terrible. I think it's okay. I think it's just he doesn't really have, like, Evan White's got like long legs to where he can stretch and almost do the splits to grab a ball, where Ty France has got those short, stouty tree trunk legs to where it's kind of hard to do, stretch out to grab something type of deal. But I mean, like I said, he's been very solid. He's gotten better, especially over at the position. So I think next year he's at least earned to start. And then you see what what Evan White does down in Tacoma. And then if Evan White's just going ham, offensively and is still doing what he's doing defensively, then you can kind of decide from there. So I think that's, and honestly, you have Evan White under contract for the next, 5 years. So I think that'd be fine too. And let's go. The Mariners just won.
There you go.
So, yeah, I'll pass that off to Sean.
And I'm looking through Ryan Divish's Twitter. He usually posts the lineups, and Ty France has been batting third or fourth pretty much as far as I can scroll down on Ryan Divish's Twitter feed. And if a man who's hitting third and fourth in the lineup and producing with the bat, and not killing you on defense, hasn't earned more time, I don't know what else to say. Sean, what do you think?
I think people are talking about the wrong thing. I don't think time has ever been an issue. It's always been a position for Ty France, and it was always kind of thought he'd be the DH. His advanced metrics love his first base, like actually one of the best first basemen in all baseball. That is a whole nother rant about like what I think is broken with defense these last couple of years, because I can give lots of examples of how defensive metrics don't make any sense this year. But I'm convinced the radar guns and all these things got COVID. Like Ty France is not a better defensive first baseman than Matt Olson. I'm so sorry, but that's the advanced metrics says he is. But with that said, Gary Hill Jr. turned JP Crawford, who's not a good shortstop, into a Gold Glove shortstop. He has turned now Ty France around. So Gary Hill, our defensive infielder, who has always been thought to be a guru for a number of years, has worked a little bit of magic with Ty France, and he is a very above average first baseman defensively. Which I didn't agree with before this year, but the numbers say what they are. I would say, as someone who I think predicted him to have the highest batting average in the Mariners this year before the season started, along with JT, the bat was never an issue. I think that he has 5 years left, Ty France does, including arbitration. So he's not going anywhere for a while, Matthew. The trading would have to be for like a lot, because I don't think you're giving up a guy like that who could play second, third, and first now with 5 years of control. And he's only 27. I don't think you're giving him up for almost anything. He's earned a spot, and I think Kevin's right. Evan White has to start in the minors, but Evan White also doesn't have to do much to get a job, because Ty France at the end of the day can just go back to DH and you still get that bat in the lineup. And Evan White did get has a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot of hype, but his ceiling could be a very, very solid player, and solid offensive player with that glove plays in the majors. Like, that is a big deal. He is so good with the glove. And you're also right, Matthew, the first base defensively isn't the most important position, but when you have a good glove at first base, a good glove anywhere really helps, but I think Ty France, the notion that he now deserves more time is I think a little silly. He should have been considered from the start, because I loved him from the start. Like, his bat, his minor league numbers have been crazy. So I think he didn't get a crack in San Diego solely because they're loaded, not because of that. Like, he was gonna be, would have thought he was gonna be on this team for a long time.
All right. Well, everyone out there, let us know what you think of Ty France. Tweet at us. I am at Base Matt. Sean's at Sean's Group. Kev's at Kev's with first name believes we have 3. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think of Ty France. Has he earned himself a spot at first base? Laura and I went to this place, good ice cream spot in Leavenworth, Whistle Punk, and they have a very good ice cream scoop, and that is my favorite play at first base, a solid scoop and a bad throw. You really can't beat it with a good first baseman scoop. So let's move on to a prospect report. Sean, what do you got?
Oh, I actually don't have one this week. Oh no, I do. Aguilar, who's oh gosh, I can't remember his first name, but he was playing, he's playing in the Arizona Fall League, or no, the Dominican Summer League, the DSL for the Mariners, and he's their big 16-year-old prospect that plays first base / outfield, but I think he's gonna be a first baseman because he's gonna be so tall. He's been turning some heads already. He was like the number 3 international signing last year. They just got started, and their numbers aren't like all the way official, like, like really ready to go. So, because they don't have the same technology there yet. I assume teams will want to get him there, but to a certain point, but with COVID and slowing all that down, I don't think it's taken off as much as people want. But his very early returns has looked really good. I also saw the shortstop they got in this draft. He's been playing in the Arizona Summer League, and they changed his stance around. I think his name's, oh gosh, I can't remember his name. We just talked about him, but sorry, I'm trying to look at it. Sterling Aguilar right here. One WRC plus of 120, so that'll play as a 15-year-old or no, as a 17-year-old. But they made a bunch of adjustments to his swing, and it seems like he's looking a lot better, making more contact, and he's actually been turning a lot of heads already. And he's just the Mariners' second-round pick this last year at shortstop. So and he's also 17. So Mariners have been making some moves with some 17-year-olds, and I'm really digging it. And I don't know. I want to know what Kevin's and your thought is. When does Marte get that call up to Double-A? Because I would have thought once the influx of talent came in and pushed them all up, he would have gone up straight up to High A. But he is still sitting there at Low A, killing it.
Yeah, I'm not really sure because the bat's there. Unfortunately, we don't really get to see from what I have on our Twitter, like all the stuff that we walk on Twitter. We don't get to see what he looks like defensively.
And they don't have a lot of advanced defensive metrics for Low A.
Yeah. So I don't know if they're holding him back just because his defensive play has been not up to par. But I mean, it's like how I mean, you can work on that at the Double-A too. If his bat is just murdering people.
High. He'll go.
Oh, High A, excuse me. Yeah, I forgot he's in Low A. Yeah, it's honestly, if he's not there by like first week September, like I kind of gonna be questioning like what's going on over there. Did he like run over a bus of puppies or like what's yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
I'm picturing a bus of puppies now, and that is horrifying. But how old is Marte? 19?
18.
19?
Marte's 19.
Yeah. I think he's a kid. I think I think next year would be very shocking if he weren't in Double or Triple-A. But I don't know the minor league system as well as both of you, so I don't think I could comment as well. But I'm not really sure what the promotion from Low A to High A would really mean, other than he's playing well. But I think once he gets to Double-A, Triple-A, that would be when you really want to start paying attention.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
But let's move on. Sean wanted to talk about this. We didn't blow up your phone, Kevin. You're welcome. So I don't know who you guys follow, but Sean was upset with me that I said he has complaints just like rest of the Mariners fans. First of all, let me just say, I don't know where you guys see all these Mariners fans comments. You must be in like a group or look at replies or something. And that's not really my thing. So I don't really care what other people say on Twitter outside of like people that follow and like, writers who actually cover the team. There are some people who, I click on the tweet and I see some replies, but I don't really care what most Mariners fans think because, if you're still here, you're very sad anyway. So, Sean, why don't you go ahead and talk about this topic and what you were upset with me about then?
I'm the old man on the young Mariners Twitter of like, I found out they're all like 17 years old. So I feel like really creepy following all these kids and they follow me. So they always post about like, they quote tweet all these guys like talking about it. And I follow, most of them are Seahawks fans too, like the people that complain. And it's more, so I kind of made a comment of like, hey, Montero play better. And like Middleton play better, but you guys still with me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, you guys are cutting out of my screen. I'm losing like seconds here. So I get like constantly like every time like that bullpen game, Kevin, the Texas Ranger game that we ended up winning, like it was just constantly like fire to Poto. He's absolute garbage. Like we're done. This is stupid. And Matthew said like we all predicted to win 70 games and we're going to win 70 games maybe by next week and in the middle of August. Like, how can especially this year, we're talking about firing Dipoto, but like my issue with the complaints is like, goes from DEFCON. It's like anything happens. Like we trade a closer in the thing, and we're all like, oh, sorry, I got distracted. We're gonna trade it like a arguably closer, and then it's just gonna like derail everything. We're gonna be terrible, but we're not terrible. But anytime anything sort of happens along a bullpen, it's fire to Poto, burn it all to the ground. The Mariners been bad for 20 years. I hate this. And I'm like, guys, like just like there's a reasonable complaint of like, man, that really sucked. We shouldn't have probably get like what was his Mishevich probably should have got out and not given up 3 earned runs before recording an out. But instead, it's like I complained about like, hey, Mariners, can we not ground into double plays versus other people who were like, can we not like suck for 20 years? Oh my God, this is going to be terrible, when they don't understand what a rebuild is or what the process is. It's almost like these Mariner fans turn into John Heyman and hate the Mariners for like 10 seconds. It's almost like they want them to fail. And so they don't have any other way to be a Mariner fan other than complain and bitch about them. There's a difference between what I was arguing with Matthew is mine is more of like kind of in joust and like, and it's funny. And it's a little bit of frustration, but it's like, I get the Mariners are going to ground into double plays, but anytime the Mariner grounds into double play, when the bases are loaded and there's no outs, I don't want to burn the organization down. Like, let's just calm down, Mariner fans. Like, it's okay that they're going to do that bad things. Every team loses 50 games every year. The 2001 Mariners lost 50 games. It will happen. You can't treat it like football where like everything's really like has to go now. So like, what I'm basically saying is shut the fuck up about firing Jerry Dipoto and this organization over the last 20 years. Bill Bavasi isn't relevant to Evan White and Jared Kelnick or Ty France. Like, that has nothing to do with it. So don't point to the 20 years of failure before this, because that has nothing to do with right now. We finally in 20 years did a rebuild. Finally in 20 years. The Rays do rebuilds. The Houston Astros are good because they did a rebuild. The freaking like I didn't write them down, all of them down, but every team was like even sort of good, like basically did a rebuild. The Padres, like, we finally did one and we're right on the cusp of it. And everyone's like, why do we suck for 20 years? Because we didn't do it. Like, we didn't do what analytics said. We fought. Jack Sorensic lied to everybody and was like, I'm analytic driven. And he wasn't analytic driven at all. Like, we were behind the times and we're paying the price for it because for those 20 years. But because those guys weren't, doesn't mean Jerry, when he tore it down and is doing it. We graduated Cal Raleigh, Logan Gilbert, and Jared Kelnick, and now we went up and have the #1 minor league in baseball right now. Like, if you can't see the game plan and what's coming now, like in the near future, I don't know what to tell you. But stop bitching and complaining about like a bullpen game. Like Kevin said, they're gonna give up runs. Shut the fuck up. Sorry, but like, oh my God, I'm done with it. Like, just shut up.
So you follow 17-year-olds on Twitter. I mean, you should know what you're going to expect. First of all,
I didn't hear any.
I imagine when he follows Mariners fans, he doesn't ask like how old are you?
I know, but there's part of your problem right there is you're following 17-year-olds who.
No, they're the happy ones about.
Oh, they are?
It's the people that they quote tweet that are like fucking pissed and like, oh my God, I can't believe we traded this guy. Like, they're the Mariners like truthers or like, oh yeah, let's do this. It's analytics. Yeah.
Well, let me just say, A, don't feed the trolls. And
I don't
B,
comment to them, but
I know. But, like I told you in our conversation, Twitter is a place I go to for complaints, for funny memes, some sports, and some news. You got to expect the complaints. You got to expect the good memes and the bad memes. There are some bad memes. And you got to watch for some good sports news and some other stuff. So I don't know what you expect in the Twitter world. This is basically everyone's journal that they yell at that isn't an actual journal. And you were saying that you're not the same as them. And, in my book, complaints are complaints. Your complaint might be small. Theirs might be burn it down. Complaint is a complaint. It's all going to go in the complaint box. It's all going to be read by HR, and it's all going to be taken at its face value for the most part.
They're going to put in different categories, though. Like,
they're going to be put in different categories, but at the end of the day, they're all going in the complaint box. So
don't ground double play and Jerry's Akami is very different complaint boxes. So yes, and that last one is a real thing that was texted to me. Jerry's Akami, like they're very different. Like, hey, maybe Montero doesn't pitch when the game's important, or Jerry's a goddamn communist and we should send him back to Russia. Like, what? Like, they're not the same.
Has
like,
Jerry even been to Russia? Can
I
we
don't
confirm
know
that report?
Like, that's what they're saying. Like, they're just like, fire Jerry. He sucks. Like, I hate his face. I'm like, what happened? Like, yeah, Castillo gave up a home run. It happens. Like, I'm sorry, but
So I think the lesson from this is don't feed into the Twitter trolls. Don't feed into their anger, Sean. You're letting them win by being angry about
no,
them.
I'm just the kids that I found out through Mariners. Like, actually, it was because they were arguing at Ryan Divish one day, and I found out how young a couple of them were, and I felt really bad about myself. But they have the funny memes because I don't know how to make what is it? Bryce Harper called them the memes. They make the memes that are really funny. So
the memes.
The memes, that's what they are.
Yeah.
The memes.
Some dank memes out there.
So that's why I follow them, because they're funny.
All right, that's fair. I don't think we resolved anything, but that's okay. Let's move on to some Seattle Seahawks football, gentlemen. So I was in Leavenworth enjoying some time away from town. I did not get to watch the game, but it sounds like I missed absolutely nothing. So I'm going to bring up the box score here. There's really not a whole lot to recap. Alex McGow was not great. Sean Mannion was not great.
Magoo.
Let's oh, sorry, Magoo. I mean, well, speaking of Magoo, let's get on let's get on to the notes here. So from Brady Henderson of ESPN, Seahawks lost 30-3 at Denver in their second preseason game, and to make matters worse, they lost linebacker Ben Burr-Kirven and wide receiver John Ursua. Sean, Kevin, I am sorry to hear this news. 2 knee injuries. Pete Carroll had no definitive prognosis, but said both will be out a while and described their injuries as serious.
They're both ACLs. They confirmed today.
Safety Ryan Neal has an oblique strain per Carroll. He has no update on how long Neal will be out. And so according to Brady Henderson, safety Ryan Neal has Burr-Kirven is a backup and mainly plays on special teams, so his injury probably doesn't make a KJ Wright return any more likely. Also from the game, since I didn't watch it, Seahawks had 27 players Saturday in their second preseason game, including Russell Wilson, was the number 1 offense. Sounds like many of them will play in their preseason finale against the Chargers on Saturday at 7, which I am able to watch, which is cool. Pete Carroll didn't name names, but said week 3 is a big deal for us. We'll go back to a lot of the other guys that haven't played in the first 2 games to prepare them for game 1 of the regular season. That's been the plan all along. And today they waived Alex Magoo. God, that looks like McGow. I'm sorry. English is a terrible language.
I know, but it's McGoo.
I know. Defensive tackle Cedric Lattimore. Team announced Monday. They also placed Burr-Kirven and Ursua on injured reserve. They waived tight end Dominic Wood-Anderson. Sorry, Kevin. So they're down to the 80-man roster limit ahead of Tuesday's deadline. So Sean Mannion and Geno Smith are behind Russell Wilson. Not really a huge deal, but that is the recap. Let me give my brief take since I saw none of it. I'm surprised they didn't play any of the number 1 offense, but I'm glad they are going to play some of them this Saturday, because I would be a little nervous if you didn't play any of the starters at all during the preseason. I know it's preseason. I know it doesn't matter, but I think they would all want to get some live snaps against another team, not against their own team. I think at least just a quarter. We'll see how long Pete leaves them out there. I would expect a half, but we'll see what they go with. So let's talk about the game. Kevin, what did you see?
Yeah, it was interesting. I am actually not surprised. Not, as I mentioned before, I don't think we're going to really see any of the ones possibly at all. Because one, you're getting more realistic practices. You're getting these simulated games and stuff like that, to where that's kind of where they're getting the reps. And also people have to remember that week 1 of the regular season is going to be our preseason game, because we're facing the 3rd backup of Indianapolis. Like, don't get me wrong, they have a good defense and the running game is good, but like when your quarterback is whoever, that Washington State kid,
It would be Washington Jacob Eason. Don't give him to Washington.
Sorry, Washington, University of Washington. Sorry. Like, I think that's your preseason game, to be honest. Like, and as you saw with the injuries, you don't really want to kind of expose them out there. One thing that this does show to all the people that still every now and then, because I do see them every now and then say that Russell Wilson's like a game manager and we can just go get another quarterback. You saw your future of what this team looks like without Russell Wilson. Now, would it be 3 points every game? No, it'd probably be, I mean, we didn't have the starting line. We didn't have the starting receivers or the running back. So I imagine you get a little bit more out of that, but that's kind of a rough reality of what this team looks like without Russell Wilson. Bad, very bad. I watched a little bit of the O-line. But it was mainly all 2s and 3s. There wasn't really anybody from the starting O-line on there. And the run blocking was just atrocious. And the pass defense was just a little bit better, but still kind of really bad. Just people missed blocks, missed assignments on a couple of plays. People just getting blown up because, especially early on when they had their ones out there, Bradley Chubb, Von Miller, kind of good. Yeah, they're gonna blow up. They're gonna blow up your 2s, pretty much. Positives from this game: DJ Dallas is probably going to be your starting returner. He looked really good. Honestly, I don't know why he's not your backup running back. I'm even saying that being a Rashad Penny fan. Like,
we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah. And that's with, as I said, atrocious line blocking play. Like, he did well. Let's see what else was really good. The linebacking, I don't think we're going to get KJ. I think you're fine with your linebackers are Bobby, Barton, and Brooks. And yeah, you could. I mean, do you really need to go there to get depth? Like, let the kids play. Like, if they get injured, maybe if KJ's still out there. Another thing that actually really surprised me, and this is going to surprise Sean a little bit, to where he actually is probably going to make this team, and he probably should, is Nick Ballore. Because he actually played linebacker. Now, it was against
Let's see him in the box score here.
Yeah. It was against 2s and 3s, but he actually looked impressive at linebacker. Like, his instincts of getting to the tackle. Now, I'm not saying starter. I'm saying as a backup, of course. Like, and then what he does on special teams is good. He is a very good special teams player. Now, do I want him as a fullback? Hell no. But apparently, if he's that good on special teams and can be your backup linebacker, I guess you could take it. Especially if he's multiple position player, I guess it's kind of worth it to keep him at that point if he's super cheap. But he was impressive this game. I will say, like, I was kind of shocked. I was just really good, explosive, good tackling. As a linebacker, he didn't really play fullback, but special teams play was also good too. He had one play where he blew up a return, like got him to, like, I think it was like the 12 or something like that. What else was good in this game? Jason Myers. Yeah, that's about it.
Sean?
I will say it's preseason, and as the Rams showed with analytics, that you don't really need to play your starters. That I don't even mind if Russell never plays in the preseason. I don't need to see Jamal Adams in the preseason. Anybody who's coming off an injury or anything like that, or is a vet who has an established position, Tyler Lockett, who's been nicked up the last 2 years, I don't need to see him. I don't even need to see DK. I don't need to see Will Dissly. I don't need to see maybe the tight end they got. Help me out. No, the tight end.
Oh, Everett.
Just to see him run some routes. But if Russell's not going to play, I don't really care. I want to see those two connection. But if they're working that in practice, that's fine. If you have a position that's fine, I don't need to see you. I don't need to see you get hurt. I don't know if you guys saw Justin Fields get absolutely annihilated and his helmet flew like 5 yards in the air.
Well, that was an illegal hit, so a little bit different, but yes.
It happens. Like,
also, Andy Dalton's a starter, so.
I mean, look what happened to our backup.
Yeah, illegal hits happen all the time, and it could happen to Russell. It just takes one, and the Russell's not playing. So I don't need to see it. I will say, though, losing as bad as they have in the first 2 games, only putting up 10 points in 2 games, still isn't good if you're not playing your starters. It is not like all burned down. We're going 0-17, but I am a little worried about some depth. Like, it is. I mean, I get it. The Broncos, this game, don't look into this one too much. The Broncos played their starters. The Seahawks did not. So, yes, they were going to slaughter us. The second half, I would have liked a little bit more fight, though, because it was backups and backups. So I would have liked – They still got outscored 13-3. So, but what I will say, the good things is, yes, Kevin, DJ Dallas, he should be, if not the 2, then the 3 at the bare minimum. And Alex Collins looks pretty good too. Like, honestly, like I think he looks pretty good. And Rashad Penny just looks lost. And there's the numbers, advanced numbers that say he is just absolutely trash. And so I don't know why he's so high on this team's depth chart. Like, honestly, like
I think it's
Chris
Pete,
Carson's obviously
Crow.
Yeah, Chris Carson's obviously number 1. And again, I don't want to see Chris Carson at all because he does have an injury history. Do not play Chris Carson for 1 snap. Yeah. I don't need to see. I know who Chris Carson is, but the other guys, it's good that they get reps. But yeah, I would probably have like a mixture of like Collins and DJ Dallas as your like 2A, 2B kind of guy. Like whoever you want is your number 2. Like mix them both half and half. But Carson is your 1, and then maybe Penny is like if he makes the roster because he is not play guys who are good. And Rashad Penny hasn't shown you anything, unfortunately. Passing wise, our Sua looked really good, and then he's done, so that sucked. Yeah. Receivers, I can't really say. Aaron Fuller's been a little okay, but other than that, they just look lost as a passing team because I really liked what Magoo had been doing, but this week was just awful. His first pick, I don't know what he was doing. It was terrible. Mannion looked a little better, but still, it's not great. It's not great. Russell Wilson, please don't ever get hurt. Like, it's just not going to be good. On the defense, Jordan Brooks showed up. That was nice to see. He was one of the starters that actually played. Alton Robinson and Green didn't play as well as they did the first time, but they both played well. So I like that. Galvin
did pretty good.
No, they both played pretty well. Like their first game they were awesome, but they didn't play as well. But like, because like they were insane. Monet, I still continue to be impressed with Monet. And then I think the second best, and they graded out the second best, was Cody Barton. Cody Barton played really well, was much more disciplined this time. Super bummed BBK. He graded out very well in the first game. I would have loved to see him play this year, but he's out. Kevin, another option that you missed was the guy Taylor is going to play linebacker as well for us, as well as defensive end. So he will split time with Cody Barton as well. Yeah. Him and Cody will probably switch a little bit and do that. Trey Flowers.
The D-line's weird this year.
The D-line has a lot of guys. The problem's going to be with Dunlap, and I don't want to see Dunlap play either. The D-line is going to have made up of a lot of like could be good guys and like one proven guy. So it could be great and it could be crap.
Here's the weird thing too. Since did you watch the game, Sean?
I did.
Okay, I don't know if you know. It's like Kindiche was not playing at all. So it's
he hasn't played a snap. He has not played a snap.
Is Kindiche like considered the one?
See, they're not sure. I was reading an article about that actually. They were like, the way that they talked, it made it seem like he was for sure. Then they're looking at Geno Atkins today, which makes it also seem like
that's what I was kind of like.
But the guys who have not played a snap and have been dressed for both games are all people like DK, Russell, all those guys. So it makes me believe he's already on the team. That's what I would assume. He's either, if not a one, he's maybe nicked up a little bit, and he's already on the team and doesn't have to play now.
I saw him on the sidelines, and he was dressed in his gear.
Padded. He's padded for both games. They said both games he's padded up, but did not play. I mean, Al Woods played and he didn't play, so I don't know. Poona Ford played in the first game, but didn't play this game. But
there's a lot of weird depth on the D line to where it's kind of.
But how many tackles do you make? Like if you get,
now you have Collier there.
I don't know if you saw the news. Like they're looking at Dunlap or not Dunlap.
Atkins.
Adkins. You can't keep Adkins, Al Woods, Poona, Monet. You really can't keep 5 tackles. Yeah, you can't keep 5 tackles. So it's like, Collier. Yeah, you can't keep all those guys. So if that's the case, Pete doesn't trust one of them or 2 of them. So, but to get back to it, I think Nick Bellore might have looked fine as a linebacker, but if Nick Bellore is playing linebacker at all for you this year, you're in trouble. And he might be a great special teams guy.
I agree.
He might be a great special teams guy, but I'm not taking a guy if he's great on special teams and the position he actually plays is not needed. So sorry, I'd still cut Nick Bellore, but he's not going to get cut.
No, those special teams. No.
Yeah, I know, but just get
Yeah,
someone else to do
I
it.
know. I agree with you. It's just I know Pete.
Trey Flowers hasn't looked terrible. Grades okay. Like actually, this people give him a lot of crap. He didn't look awful. I was gonna say Galvin Hislop. I'm pronouncing his name wrong. Didn't know who he was, but he actually looked okay. There's not a lot you could say that's great about this. I would say Kevin Pierre-Desir does not look very good. He's getting kind of torched. So that experiment, I think, should be gone. The Darius Randall experiment should be gone as well. But corner, we have some guys. Witherspoon doesn't look fantastic. It's probably just a new system, figuring it out. I'm hoping. But we all saw Jamal Adams struggle his first year in this system. So maybe it's kind of a Bruce Arians quarterback thing where it takes a little bit to get used to it. But he kind of got me a little worried that metrics love Witherspoon. So hopefully that's how it works. But Trey Flowers might be playing himself into more playing time, unfortunately. I've seen him play in NFL Sundays, but he looks like one of the better corners we got right now.
And I think what's his face is hurt, the guy that broke out last year.
Oh,
DJ
Reed. Yeah, I think he's hurt.
So, but if Trey Flowers keeps playing the way he is now, he had one big play, gave up, but again, the guy made a perfect throw. So last week, so there are some positives, Matthew, to answer your question. You've got to look for him. The D line, I think, is probably the best. What I'm most excited about, and there's a lot of potential there, but depth wise, yeah, you can't be super excited about this team. But again, the starters are what really make Seattle. We have a bunch of top 100 players. So if those guys go down, then we're in trouble. But if they're healthy, that's where the real shot to win games comes from.
Yeah, I'm going to make a quick point here too to all the Seattle fans that are freaking out about like offense and stuff like that. We had no preseason last year. And then coming in with a new offensive scheme of letting Russ cook, we scored over 40 points in the first game. Like, Russell doesn't need to play. Yes, he does have a new offensive, coordinator, new scheme and stuff like that. Russell Wilson is a Hall of Famer for a reason. If the only thing that I'm really worried about offensive start is the offensive line chemistry. That is it. Like Gerald Everett's been a pro and he will find the ball if he needs to. Like Russell will get it to him. It's just offensive line play is the only thing I really kind of question, if anything, but I think it will get there in time like it always does. Like we're going to score points again. Now, Atlanta's defense was terrible. I don't think we're going to score 40 points against Indianapolis's defense, who's a lot better, but we should score a pretty good amount of points, especially when the ball is going to be in our hand, when it should be in our hands more often, with a third string quarterback being the quarterback of the Colts. So
Evan, you'll like this. The highest graded Seahawk, any position, Jake Kurland, the right tackle, 6'6", 320 out of Carolina, rookie. He's been killing it this preseason. So, and he's a nobody. But they might, and people have been noticing around the league, they might have found a right tackle by accident. So, but like, I mean, he grades out to like a 90, like out of 1 to 100. So like, he's been very good. So in both games, like, and he played an entire half of both games.
Yeah.
So the right tackle. He's probably been my most outstanding guy. I forgot about him because again, like he's easy to forget because he plays when you don't hear an old lineman's name, it's good usually. So
I need to go back and look at the tape.
Watch the right tackle. Watch if I don't know how much he's going to play in the third game, but if they cut him, I will.
Yeah. Well, it will show Pete's talent.
If they cut him like the Mariners fans, I'll burn it to the ground. Right? Am I doing it right?
Let me wrap this up real quick, Kevin.
Go ahead.
I do agree with your point. I don't need to see Russ. It is different wearing the red jersey, though. I will say that, but I think he'll be fine when he gets out there. If he doesn't see the preseason, I think knowing Russ, he'll play at least a series of this Saturday. But if he doesn't play, it's not the end of the world. Let's move on to some of that news you guys already mentioned. So Geno Atkins visited the Seahawks today, per sources. So no offer or anything, just a visit. And just to show you that doesn't really mean much, they also have a scheduled visit with Luke Wilson since Colby Parkinson and Tyler Mabry are down. So, visits don't really amount to much unless there's a contract offer on the table. And we have heard no such news about that. Also, just want to ask you guys, I mean, Teddy Bridgewater's got to be the starting quarterback. Am I right in Denver? Like, he's got to be the better option. Just real quick. Locker Bridgewater. I'm going team Bridgewater all the way.
I don't know. Locke looked good in their first game against Minnesota, but Minnesota was just kind of fucking all over the place.
I think best bet for Denver Broncos is mystery quarterback number 3, like somebody else. Yeah, is their best bet.
I probably would go with Bridgewater just because of the experience, especially if they're not fully convinced that Locke's their guy, then just go with the guy that's kind of proven and then go draft your quarterback next year.
Their situation is the 49ers situation. Jimmy G is Bridgewater. It's safe. Locke could be good and Lancey could not be good. And if you're playing for surviving that division, then play Bridgewater. But if you're hoping to win anything that matters, you got to play Locke.
Yeah, and that division's tough.
If you're going to try to make a run, it has to be Locke.
All right, well, let's wrap it up here. We got about 5 minutes, so let's get to one more topic. So the day after we recorded, Jamal Adams was like, all right, I'll sign this deal. And according to when he was at his press conference following signing the deal, he did practice. Apparently, he talked to his mom, who told him to sign the deal. So Mama Adams, thank you. So he was on the practice field signing the richest free agent deal for a safety, an average annual value of $17.5 million, topping the $15.25 million of Justin Simmons of the Denver Broncos, who they just played. So Landon Collins still has the highest overall guarantee at $44.5 million of the New York Giants, but still Jamal Adams is getting paid very nicely. So congratulations to Jamal Adams. Thank you for coming to a deal, getting on the field. And I want to ask you guys what you think of the Duane Brown situation. Now, I have the from Pete last Friday. He has been out with a family matter, and he should be back this Friday, I believe. But as it still stands, I believe he will come back and probably sit on the sidelines. Unless something changes over this week, unforeseen, or after we record and Duane signs a contract or something like that. But what is your level of nervousness about Duane Brown potentially not playing this season? I'm just gonna go real quick. I think he'll play this season. Even if he doesn't sign a deal, I don't think he'll be very happy about it, and I think he will leave if he doesn't have a deal. But that being said, he is 36. Father time catches up with everybody except for Tom Brady. So I think he will play this season, and he'll play well and earn himself a contract, if not in Seattle, somewhere else for 3 years before he hangs it up. And I don't know, Canton might be calling his name. Who knows? Kevin, what do you think?
If he, to the fans out there, even if he signs a contract this week, he will not play Saturday. He's not going to play this preseason at all. He won't play a snap, and that's fine. Like, he's a guy I don't want to see out there. Like, I don't want to see him get hurt. He knows his stuff. Who's the right guard that we put over to left guard again that we drafted last year? Derek something.
Lewis,
yeah. If Derek Lewis gets out of line, he'll slap him in the face and show him where to be. He'll move him himself. Like, he's that good.
I believe it's Damian Lewis, by the way. But go ahead.
But yeah, should we sign him? Probably. Will he play if we don't sign him? It's always hard to tell in those situations. You saw what happens if Russ goes down. So Seahawks fans, you should hope he's out there, because it's like, you want to protect Russell and keep him upright to where we can kind of score points, unless you like kicking one field goal. So I'll just say we should want him out there and try to get him out there by any means necessary possible. Now I'll pass it off.
Father time does catch up, but offensive linemen have been shown to be able to play for quite a while. 36 is old, but it's not a
Is 36 the
dinosaur.
new 30?
No,
Okay.
but it's
35? 36 the new 35? Okay.
Yeah. He could easily play for 3 more years. It'll decline, like he won't be as good, but linemen can play till 40. Like he's not running routes, he's not running 10 yards downfield on plays. Like the agility and the speed doesn't need to be there. He just needs to have great body position. He still got it. Like, so that I'm not worried about like a huge, like immediate drop off, like a branch situation wide receiver of people who remember that guy as soon as he gets here. But that probably won't happen. But it's a big deal. Kevin's right. Like he needs to sign. We need him here. I don't think he'll sit out. He is a guy who seems very strong in his convictions. I think he's just trying to prove a point. I don't think he intends to sit out the season, but he will not be happy if he doesn't get a new deal, especially after he sees Jamal Adams get a new deal. That right there, basically doing that then makes me think they better sign him, because you do that to Jamal Adams, then don't sign him, because I'd rather have Brown. You better sign Brown. So I don't think he'll hold out, but I would love to see Brown here till he retires. He could be our Whitworth. He could be our Whitworth.
All right. Well, let us know what you think of the Duane Brown situation and the Seahawks second preseason game. Go ahead and tweet us. I'm at Matt. Sean's at Sean Scorbay. Kev's at Kev's Believes First Team Believes in 3. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think. Follow our page on the Eline Network. Next week is our 1-year episode, our 52nd episode. So we're going to talk. I mean, we'll see where the Mariners are at. They just won tonight, so that's pretty cool. We'll see where they're at in the wild card race, in the division race. And then we're going to talk about the Seahawks' final preseason game. And then I think next week after that, we'll do our National Football League preview. We're going to give our predictions. We're going to tell you who is going to be winning the division, who is going to be winning the NFC and the AFC, and who's going to be winning the Super Bowl. Spoiler alert, it is probably the New York Jets. So just be prepared for that prediction. Zach Wilson looked great in his second preseason game. So just get ready for that. Also in the NFC, I mean, Daniel Jones, man, looking good. So New York, get ready for a Super Bowl. But
Jameis Winston, hello.
Oh yeah, I did watch some football finally, and Jameis wins that job. If Taysom Hill's on the field, Sean Payton deserves to be fired. That's right. I burned it down.
Has a team or has a job in the NFL. Like I don't get it. Does he have dirt on Sean Payton? Like I think Kevin has said that. I don't know how he's still on a team.
He's a utility guy. He can play everywhere, Sean.
He can't play any position good, but he can play a lot of them, but none of them very good. Like
he's like Nick Bellore. He's a fullback. He's a linebacker. He's a special teamer.
Matthew, I can play professional baseball and football. Not very well, but technically I could.
That's fair. That's fair. you might be able to crack special teams.
Sean, no one ever suspects the Spanish Inquisition. Okay,
no one.
That's what he is.
Yeah,
he's the play you don't see, and then he gets you like 15 yards. And you're like, oh my god, he's great.
And then the other 10 times out there, he loses you yards.
and then he does one more play that doesn't work good, and then you're like, you take him out and be like, oh, why don't you play him more? And be like, oh, he's our special guy. Special. Yeah. So,
all right. Well, we will see if the Sounders continue their streak. Kevin, don't jinx them. And we will see you next time on Washington East to West Sports.
Sounders, give me money.